and still figuring out what the right model is, which you touched on in your question, is how are the stores, so the employees that are in the stores, how are they directly connecting with people who are browsing the website? In almost all cases, they're not. And when the traffic is slow in the store, what happens? What do the salespeople, what do the reps in the store do? Because there often is traffic on the website during those times. So one of our customers, it's a large furniture retailer in the UK. They actually just changed their model. So they went through that evolution. In the pandemic, they had to shut down all their stores for some time and completely shifted to a digital-only model. As the pandemic eased, they swung back and moved their focus to the stores and kept a small contact center-like team that was engaging, using our technology over video, was engaging with people browsing their website. And now they actually, over the past few months, they've disbanded that contact center team and gave the power back to the store associates. So they have over 100 stores across the UK. And when there is an inbound inquiry on the website, so someone on the website has a question or wants to speak with a sales associate, anyone from the 100 plus stores can pick that up and engage with them. And what's especially attractive for the store associates is that over 50% of the company's revenue comes from digital. So they're standing around in the store, they're waiting for foot traffic, they're waiting for a customer to come so that they can sell something. And when things are slow, they just open up a laptop and they're able to engage with people who are browsing the website. It's a huge opportunity for them individually, and then for the company, from a CX perspective, they can really give an in-store like experience to the website visitor that wants to see the product over video. Yeah, and I think that call it hybrid, or when there's multiple steps in the purchase journey, it could very well be that the initial interaction is digital, but then the final one, actually the actual purchase where you need to maybe try something on, or you want to feel it with your hand, maybe that happens in the store.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of CX with Chopra, where we talk about everything customer experience. And today we are joined by Mr. Tomer Azenkot, CEO and President of V24. He brings over a decade of experience in building digital customer experience solutions. And V24, in my opinion, is one of the most innovative companies in the whole digital CX space, and they've been helping major brands, transform their digital customer interactions through high definition, through highly engaging video chat, advanced co-browsing, chatbots, and comprehensive engagement solutions. So, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to having this conversation.
Yeah, likewise. So, I just want to start off with talk about the whole evolution of CX, because initially, if you look at it, all started with offline stores. That was the only way you could go and buy. So you'd go to a store, buy, and then we started seeing the whole evolution of digital. Then eventually Amazon came in, people started to adopt, or organization companies started to adopt digital, and now we see we have digital native organizations going in. And the next, I think post pandemic, what we saw, that there's so many multiple digital touch points which have now come up, where potentially brand could get orders from 10 different channels as opposed to just an app or a website, or from their storefront. And now, interestingly, people are talking about the whole integration between online, offline, especially post pandemic. People want to go back, but now they have seen the other side of the convenience, that you can buy online as well. And it's interesting how things are evolving. So in this context, how do you feel that V24 is, in my view, how is it redefining customer experience?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's so much there. So
Yeah.
We saw throughout the pandemic, we saw many of our customers basically leaning in and going all in on shutting down the stores and using our technology to connect with their customers. And then many of those, after the pandemic, if you will, or once things came back to somewhat normal, they went all the way back and kind of retreated to where they were before the pandemic, which in my opinion is a huge mistake, and a lot of wasted efforts and future revenue that could come from digital that is now lost in many ways. So we've seen a big swing and then swing back. And one of the things that we're seeing now, which I think we're at the very early stages of, and still figuring out what the right model is, which you touched on in your question, is how are the stores, so the employees that are in the stores, how are they directly connecting with people who are browsing the website? In almost all cases, they're not. And when the traffic is slow in the store, what happens? What do the salespeople, what do the reps in the store do? Because there often is traffic on the website during those times. So one of our customers, it's a large furniture retailer in the UK. They actually just changed their model. So they went through that evolution. In the pandemic, they had to shut down all their stores for some time and completely shifted to a digital only model. As the pandemic eased, they swung back and moved their focus to the stores and kept a small contact center like team that was engaging using our technology over video, was engaging with people browsing their website. And now they actually, over the past few months, they've disbanded that contact center team and gave the power back to the store associates. So they have over 100 stores across the UK. And when there is an inbound inquiry on the website, so someone on the website has a question or wants to speak with a sales associate, anyone from the 100+ stores can pick that up and engage with them. And what's especially attractive for the store associates is that over 50% of the company's revenue comes from digital. So they're standing around in the store, they're waiting for foot traffic, they're waiting for a customer to come so that they can sell something. And when things are slow, they just open up a laptop and they're able to engage with people who are browsing the website. It's a huge opportunity for them individually, and then for the company, from a CX perspective, they can really give an in-store like experience to the website visitor that wants to see the product over video.
Interesting. And the two thoughts which are coming to my mind. One is, once you said that, post the pandemic, most of the businesses have gone back to offline mode, which is a huge mistake in a way, of course, because I think they're losing out on the investment they've already made, or rather there's an educated customer now out there, as opposed to how it was probably 5-10 years ago, educated in terms of knowing how to go digital or buy digital, the big chunk. But having said that, going online and then going offline, is it a business choice or a reaction towards customer behavior?
I think it's more of going back to offline. I think it's more of a business choice. I think the needs are not met for online customers as well as they're met for in-store customers today. Multiple examples come to mind from our existing customer base, but I think the experience, again, if we're viewing things through a CX lens, I think when you look at satisfaction levels of people coming into the store, we work a lot with luxury companies that are really going above and beyond to give that luxury experience. So I'll use another specific example. We work with the largest luxury watch retailer in the world. So when you walk into one of their boutiques in person, they'll offer you a nice glass of champagne or coffee. And they want to give that same experience to someone on the website. Obviously, it's quite difficult to do so on the website, but one of the ways they do that is they basically have a video-based personal shopper that is available to meet and greet you and help you with whatever you need. If they didn't have that, and most of their competitors do not, then the experience is really poor, and it's no different from, you're buying a $50,000 watch on their website. That experience without the video personal shopper wouldn't be different from a website that's selling a $10 widget. So they really try to go above and beyond on the website, and video is one way to do it. I don't know that there are many other tools that can really enable them to go above and beyond. In the US, one of the unfortunate things that we're seeing is that there is this really strong leaning towards AI and more automation to reduce costs for digital,
Hmm.
So the thought is, let's automate as much as possible. Let's make things, quote unquote, as easy as possible for the customer. But really, when it comes to giving the best customer experience, for particular industries where it's high touch, high consideration, requires that human to human connection, I think a lot of the companies are falling short on that CX.
Hmm. Interesting, because so in a way we were saying that wherever there is a need for high touch or a certain level of personalization is where we would see that people would want to go to the store or interact with somebody, but they've also seen the convenient side of digital, that you can still go ahead and do it. And I think the whole live video engagement is a hybrid. I think it's a sweet spot wherein I could still be sitting at work, but I know I need to buy this
Mhm.
a watch. Let's say I want to gift it to my, let's say, my partner, and then I can go talk to somebody and still buy, let's say, a 50,000 or $10,000, let's say, watch, which otherwise probably, at least being, I mean, I'm not a Gen Alpha, not a Gen Z, but at least I can still not buy that expensive online. I would still want to go feel, touch, or at least see how it fits, how somebody wearing, and there's a, like you said, a human sitting right across who's explaining it to me, rather than me just relying on the information I'm seeing on the website.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that call it hybrid, or when there's multiple steps in the purchase journey,
Hmm.
it could very well be that the initial interaction is digital, but
Hmm.
then the final one, actually the actual purchase, where you need to maybe try something on, or you want to feel it with your hand, maybe that happens in the store. A good example is in the automotive
Right.
industry, where there's quite a bit of research that most people do before they actually
True.
buy. And if I decide on buying a car and I want to call a few different dealerships, I'm not going to want to get in my car and go and travel 45 minutes to the nearest
Yeah.
dealership, and then maybe go to a second and a third one while I'm in that research phase. The first step in my purchase journey is definitely beginning on digital. I may not buy the car online,
Right.
even though if you're buying a Tesla today, you're probably buying it online.
Yeah.
But in any case, there's, without a doubt, there's certainly a whole bunch of research and consideration that's being done on digital, and a lot of those experiences are falling short. And when I'm shopping for a car, I don't necessarily want to be greeted by an AI chatbot that is aiming
Certainly.
to answer my questions, very quickly, and kind of move me on to the next part of the journey.
Yeah, you're right, because I mean, one is you would spend a lot of time during the whole information search. If I said, the whole consumer path to purchase starts, let's say, with need generation, then you would do information search, you'll figure out, what are the brands out there, then you'll define your top three, brand sets, and do your detailed evaluation, and then make, let's say, purchase, or then post purchase. Now typically people would minimize their risk in the whole information search. Now that risk could be quality risk of the product, it could be time risk, how much time I'm spending, it could be financial risk if it's expensive, it could be hedonic risk, or it could be any other risk. And it's the risks that people are reducing. And like you're saying, that through that video, at least engagement, if I'm talking to somebody who's sitting in the store, probably sitting on the sofa that I need to buy, or holding that watch, or a pair of, or just a ring, let's say, at least that initial risk in the information search, that I think that journey gets cut short, I'm sure, by a huge amount. I mean, I'm not driving, I'm sitting at home, but I may still just go to the store just to say, oh, just show me that one, I've already made up my mind, I just want to touch and feel it before I buy. Or like it's a car, probably I just want to go obviously once before I mean, I don't want it delivered. Maybe now that's what our thinking is. Maybe Gen Alphas, when they grow up, they'll be surprised that why did they have to go somewhere even to buy a car.
Yeah,
But it's the risk, I think, and it's a great way of redefining the whole CX, that this way the whole information search duration could be cut short. I mean,
yeah.
you don't have to leave and oftentimes brands would, the biggest concern would be the attention span, that you don't want the customer to go out of your website. You want to engage the customer, do things. So instead of just making the customer take the pain of searching the content. You can have the most efficient, beautiful search. You could have the best navigation on the site, but you're still leaving it to the customer to figure out what that customer wants. But in
Yeah.
this way, I think it's a great, I mean, personally, I think I feel it's a very, I don't know why it's not been done at scale, to be honest. Why I haven't seen that use case myself, but I'm
Yeah,
surprised
I
why
ask
it's not
myself the
been
same
done.
question all the
Yeah,
time. Yeah, yeah, totally
yeah,
agree. Now, it's not true for all use cases.
mm,
If the way we think about it, we kind of differentiate into two initial buckets. There is a customer service
mm,
or like after sales bucket, and then there is the customer acquisition or
right,
sales bucket. So
mm,
in customer service, maybe you do want, as a company, you do want to minimize the cost and the effort, and you want to try to give quick solutions, and you don't want to spend the time to have a conversation with the person. Maybe
mm,
if it's someone looking, trying to look up their order to see where it is, so you want to give them a very simple solution on the website.
yeah,
And that's where I think the chatbots do a really good job of
mm,
co-browsing the customer to the right place and helping them find a quick FAQ style answer.
right,
But in use cases where you do want to speak with every single person that walks through the door or through the digital door, um, that's where you do want to invest in having that human to human connection. You mentioned before where you might be at your workplace and it's a convenient time for you to maybe get
yeah,
on a call with let's say the car dealership. Maybe you and your partner want to be on the same call, and your partner is in a different workplace, so you're both in different locations. It would be a huge
right,
logistics effort for you to both get in your cars, drive over, and meet in a place. But instead, you can both jump on the same video call while you're browsing the website and get the information you want, have the opportunity to ask questions. And from the business's perspective, it's their opportunity to guide you down the path or the journey that they're interested in guiding you, rather than leaving things to
true,
wherever you end up, and the luck of the draw when it comes to where you're going to go, because you could very easily go off their website, as you mentioned before, and you can go to their competitor, because they have not provided
yeah.
you a very personalized and complete response to your inquiries.
And again, but coming back to the point that we've not seen a lot of brands adopt this. So yes, there's a massive opportunity. Yes, it's solving a great, I mean, there's a great value proposition in it. So are there any misconceptions that business have, or about implementing the whole video chat or live engagement solutions, that they're still holding back, or what are the possible reasons?
Yeah, so like I said, it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. I've been with V24 for exactly 2 years, and it's been on my mind from before I even took the job. Um, what we've seen is that there are differences geographically. So, for
Mm,
example, in the UK and some of the Western European countries, the adoption has been much greater. And in fact, even 5 years ago, there was pretty good adoption to video for particular commerce use cases. In the US, we see the opposite. And one of my theories is that in the US, we've really leaned into the AI buzz over the past 18 months in particular, where
mm,
I think a lot of companies and maybe a lot of leadership in companies are thinking, oh, we just need that perfect Gen AI or large language model that's
yeah.
just going to be the one size fits all solution, and it's also as a bonus going to help me reduce cost tremendously. So
Hmm,
I think what we've seen is that there needs to be that vision or the strategy of, I want to give a really good customer experience to people coming onto my website. And my goal, at least on the sales side, is
hmm,
not to reduce the cost, but rather I want to invest in meeting face to face with every single potential buyer, every single person that walks through the digital door, just like I
right.
would want to invest in every person that walks through the brick and mortar door to one of my locations. What I don't want to do is I don't want to try to find the cheapest, fastest, easiest way to answer their question and then have them move on. So obviously, some use cases, that's the right way to think. In some use cases, it's not. If you're selling a $50,000 watch, you probably want to spend the time with your customer. If you're Amazon and you're selling a lot of millions and
Yeah.
millions of very low priced items, you probably don't want to spend the face-to-face time with each person who's browsing the site. Um,
Mm.
but why is it not more widely adopted for those use cases? I think it will be eventually. I
Mm.
think we're still in early days,
Yeah.
and I think there's also one of the misconceptions that I've seen is that people think, oh, a lot of my customers are, let's say, an older demographic, so they're not very technology savvy. So video seems like it will overwhelm them. I think it's the exact opposite, actually. I think
Yeah, I was
video
about to
makes
say
it
that.
easier. You don't want
Yeah.
them fumbling around the website. In fact, you want to get someone on screen to help them in a
Yeah.
very easy way. The other side of that spectrum is people saying, no, many of my customers are Gen Z and they want to do things on their own. They don't want to talk to anyone. Well, again, I think they're on their mobile devices. It's so easy if someone just pops up on video on your mobile device and says, how can I help you, and be able to um, do things for you, take you to the right place on the website, answer any question you have. So I don't think there is a particular demographic that's more appropriate for
Hmm.
video. Um, and I think eventually there will be that adoption. But we definitely are still in the very early days and still on that adoption curve. We're still in the very early stages.
Yeah, interesting because I mean, I agree with the whole AI chatbot thing. I think every brand wants a AI chatbot, but nobody wants to interact with the chatbot, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, price is one thing. Again, linking it to the risk factor. If the financial risk is high, you would want to interact, talk with somebody, at least to get better understanding of what it is. Maybe it happens that when I'm having a conversation, I'll probably know, okay, what are my concerns, rather than me just looking into content on the website and consuming that. But yes, but then one dimension is price. Another I feel is also, I mean, there are two types of journeys. One could be where you see and buy, and the other is where you talk and buy. I
Hmm.
mean, see and buy. Let's say if it's a shirt, it may so happen that I may go to a Marks and Spencers and just walk down the. I know I need a shirt, a formal shirt, but I'll walk down the aisle. I look at everything, and then I'll feel like, no, probably I have a lot of blues and other colors. I need a black one, maybe. And while I'm browsing, I may need, oh, I need this material, or this would probably look nice. And eventually, after browsing, let's say 50 or 70 odd shirts, I would probably say, oh, this is the one I want to buy, as opposed to like you're saying, in case of auto, in case of expensive or luxury watches, or in case of insurance, any other, I mean, similar kind of thing, where you would want to talk and buy,
Hmm.
is where probably this would be very apt, in terms of having a video where you're talking to somebody who's sitting in the store.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there are a few elements there that we see contribute to our sweet spot.
Hmm.
One is where you're seeking advice from an expert. So
Hmm.
that's definitely true about a financial institution like insurance.
Hmm.
It's true when you're buying a luxury good that you probably need a little help in your confidence to make the purchase.
Yeah.
It's not true when you're buying a shirt because you have 20 shirts, you're buying another one. Um, the other use case is where there is a very large catalog that you need to be guided through. So if
Hmm.
you're buying something, some kind of remodeling for your home, for example, if you're one of our customers is one of the leading blinds companies in the world. I don't know if you've had the pleasure of buying blinds recently, but I bought blinds for this house 4 years ago when we moved in,
Hmm.
and there's 1,000 different kinds, and who
I was
knows
about
what
to say,
kind you
it
want.
seems very easy. I just have to go and buy blinds, but it
Yeah,
has to match 10 other things. There's 20 types of materials which are out
yeah,
there. So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So being able to be guided by
Hmm.
someone, they'll probably qualify you with a few questions, and they'll guide you through the catalog and say, look, there's this material, there's that material, there's this type. You know, um, it's a combination of guiding you through a catalog and also helping you decide at the same time. And then the third thing is how visual is it? So do I want to see the product? So when you're buying blinds, you do want to see the blinds.
Right.
And also the person selling you the blinds probably wants to see your environment. So the home decoration, the window itself that you're buying the blinds for. So the
Hmm.
two-way video is incredibly valuable in that case. So when those things are true, at least one of them is true, it's probably a good use case for video. And if not, then that's fine. Maybe you don't need to speak with someone.
But I mean, while you're saying is, I'm also imagining AR or VR shaping into this or integrating it into this. Do you also foresee that as well? I mean, I know Metaverse did not, you know, take off the way the whole promise was, but at least in this case, the whole AR VR fits really well in terms of how it look on in my location. Let's say my home.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's valuable, and maybe that's
Mm.
a kind of easy way out to avoid having, from the company's perspective, avoid putting a person in front of you, rather giving you a tool for
Right.
AR or some sort of VR. We've seen cases where an agent is necessary to help people use that technology. So there is an AR tool on the website, but people struggle to use it. So they do need to speak with someone that will guide them through using it. For example, for furniture.
Hmm.
So that's sometimes the case. But yeah, there are definitely some technologies that reduce the need to have a human involved,
Hmm.
which is great. I mean, that's what all companies should strive for. But I do still think that they're over-indexed, and bringing a person into the journey is under-indexed for the most part.
And to your point, it's not about adding more cost. See, the whole AI automation is about reducing cost, but what you mention is more about that you already have the staff sitting in the store. When nobody is walking in, that person can pick up a video call and still be productive, and you can probably make more sales, have higher conversion through the same cost. I mean, cost structure, the same staff which is there. Yeah.
Yeah, in some cases it's a central contact center team. In others,
Hmm.
it's the store staff. Excuse me.
Yeah, sure.
I'm at the very tail end of getting over COVID for the second time. So um,
Oh, okay. We're
hopefully
still
that's
we're, we're still talking about COVID, so
we
yes, it's
still do.
very
Yeah.
very much relevant.
Yeah. So in some cases there is a central team that acts as the contact center. In some cases it's the
Mm.
store associates. I think we're still in the early days of store associates being involved. I think
Mm.
in an ideal world, there is a central team that takes the inquiry and then, when
Mm.
necessary, connects you with the store. So with our technology, our customers have the ability to take on the call. So say I'm the contact center, you're the customer. We begin the conversation, and then we realize that you do have a store that's near your home that you would probably be going into eventually to make the final
Right.
purchase.
So
So I
rather,
can I can
yeah.
bring on a third person to the call so that you can
Mm.
already begin that relationship with a store associate. So making that connection again, website, browser, to the contact center, to the store. I think that's the ultimate setup, if
I mean, that's the
possible.
ultimate, which I think everybody's talking about, the whole seamless omni-channel. And I mean, like I'm saying, I'm still surprised why not everybody is doing it, but this is a great integration of the whole seamless, right? I mean, you typically, they would talk about that when I go from a digital to a store, it should be seamless, but I'm still switching. But what we are talking about here is that even in digital, you have that offline integrated. So when you go from that to offline, it's the same journey. It's the same person you just spoke to, let's say,
Yeah,
or interacted with the video. He knows what you want, what you looked at. He already has that thing, let's say, or those blinds kept on the shelf, and you can just directly pick and buy. I
yeah,
think it's a great seamless. But do
yeah.
you?
And,
I
and
mean,
again, it's still like the kind of follow up question is, why aren't we seeing it everywhere? Why isn't it more adopted? But it's still very early days to that, I think. And
yeah.
we're
I
still
mean,
seeing organizations where, to some extent, digital is competing with the brick and mortar. So
hmm,
they don't want to have that handover because they'd be competing each other with each other.
right. Right, because I mean, yes, to a certain point, people may question that it may not be a scalable model, but then like you're saying, it's not for all business. We're not saying it's for, like an Amazon where you have $5, $10 products, it's selling at volumes, but at least where you want to talk and buy, where there's high customer lifetime value, or where there's a high potential risk that customers may have, those are great candidates where they should definitely be doing it. But do
Yeah,
you want
and,
to, I
and
mean, mhm.
CX, sorry to interrupt, but CX is
Yeah,
at the
please.
center of that, right? Because in businesses where customer loyalty and repeat customers are really important, I think at the top of your mind should be to give them the best experience.
Right.
And regardless of whether they're on the site or they're in the store. It should be a consistently good experience across. And it would be very frustrating if the two experiences are very disjointed, and
Mm.
there isn't that continuity across.
But what I'm very interested to know is that, I mean, when you work with these brands, how do you define the metrics? It's I mean, it's not purely digital, it's not purely offline. There's a hybrid. So how do we define the whole impact on CX? I mean, it cannot be just conversion rates,
No,
because
I
somebody
think
would
conversion
eventually.
rates is a poor it's a
Yeah.
poor metric for us because there is a self-selection bias. So the
Right.
customers that do engage with a video to begin with are much more likely to purchase.
Hmm.
What we've seen as being interesting. So first of all, we have built into our platform there is a little survey at the end, so you can
Hmm.
do some sort of CSAT measuring, which I think has some value.
Right.
Um, there's also a very interesting, I think, increase in many of our customers' average order value when there is a human to human interaction versus a self-led checkout,
Hmm.
which I think is really powerful. So if you're seeing, for example, that people who are interacting with one of your associates over video are ending up spending 3x on average, it's a very clear way of seeing that that's a worthwhile investment for you. Um, Conversion less so. Also, in businesses again where loyalty is a big
Hmm.
component, I think those businesses often do get feedback from their loyal customers in ways outside of our platform, of course. But just understanding, like, are you appreciative of the fact that you have a personal shopper available to you on the website over video at any point in time? Is that something that you take advantage of on a consistent basis? And when that's the case, it's very telling that those businesses are benefiting.
Yeah, because it's an opportunity for the brand to engage with the customer, deliver that additional experience that you can do. Yeah, and interesting. I was hearing somebody talking about difference between service and hospitality. So I said service is just me giving you coffee. Hospitality is that how do I make you feel about it?
Mm.
And that's the differentiator, and that's probably the differentiator here as well. That we also look at how people feeling about it. You can sense it. You can act on it then and there, rather than somebody just dropping off, opening another app, another website, or going seeing maybe another store as well for that matter. But would
Yeah.
love to hear. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm still fascinated about it. So would love to hear more. Any customer success story where they use this as a pivot in their CX and a differentiator. In the whole competition.
Yeah, we have plenty. I'll give you one example from a beauty company. So they
Hmm.
sell cosmetics,
Hmm.
leading brand in the world. They offer free consultations to their customers. So you can schedule, they actually just rebranded it. It was called Virtual Boutique. Now it's called Personal Shopper. But you can schedule an appointment through
Hmm.
our platform, schedule an appointment. There's no cost to it. And in that appointment, one of their beauticians will walk you through particular routines that they recommend for you based on your needs and, of course, what you're asking for, but also based on seeing you, seeing your let's say your
Hmm.
skin complexion and what
Yeah.
products you're currently using today. So it's highly personalized, highly tailored to your needs. They sit in it's in a cubicle. They have this basket behind them with all the products that they sell. So maybe you're initially interested in, I'm probably the last person in the world to talk about these products, but maybe you're initially interested in, let's say, some sort of lotion because you have dry skin.
Yeah.
They of course show you how to use it. They walk you through it and say you need to use this daily in the morning, and then they'll say, and here's another product, and you should be using this in the evening before you go to sleep. And then here's a third product which we recommend to use on a monthly basis, maybe because it has other benefits. So what they're seeing through these scheduled appointments with beauticians is more than a 3x growth in their average order value. And even though they're giving these for free, they're spending 20 minutes, half an hour of their beautician's time. It's still a very strong business model and definitely worth it. And I think most importantly for them, it creates really strong customer loyalty. So that customer, obviously their product is a consumable. So that customer
Yeah.
buys multiple products on a single call, and then they're back the following month to do it all over again. That's a net new business for that company that they started a couple years ago, and it really differentiates them. Number one, they're not a high cost.
Hmm.
Their products are 10, 20, $30. So it's not a high ticket item. The average order value now includes multiple items in each
And there's a high
purchase,
customer lifetime value because the person
and a high
repeat
LTV.
purchase we know is
Absolutely.
going to happen, right?
Absolutely. And they're in a very competitive space where if a customer is loyal to the brand, it makes
Hmm.
all the difference, because otherwise you can bounce between the different brands, and there's dozens
Hmm.
of them, and then the lifetime value goes way down.
Interesting. And I've seen on your website, it's really worked really well in the auto sector as well, if I'm right. Right? How you can look in, I mean, probably look through the car in terms of how it is, ask because there's so many questions we typically go to a dealer and ask, which can be easily done. Let's say if somebody's sitting right there, and if I'm on a on a video chat, and later probably I can just book a test drive of that particular car rather than me doing a test drive for 10 different cars. So how was that experience?
Yeah, I think there are a few different types of experiences in the automotive world. So
Hmm.
there's the newer manufacturers, some of which have gone into a direct to consumer model. So I mentioned
Hmm.
Tesla before. If you're buying a Tesla today,
Yeah.
they would like you to go to the website and
Hmm.
click next, 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 and put your credit card information, and you bought yourself a Tesla.
Hmm.
Um, for most people, it's not that simple. Maybe Tesla has
Hmm.
actually been very unusually successful with it, but
Hmm.
we've worked with a few of say their competitors in the EV market, where they've also gone direct to consumer, and it hasn't been as
Hmm.
successful of a journey as it has been for Tesla. And one way to ease that challenge of going D2C is to add a video agent that's available as part of that purchase process. They can help you configure the car correctly. They can show you the car, so they have a car sitting behind them, and they can show you over video different features of the car and so on. And most importantly, I think it humanizes the experience and gives you more confidence. You're not just buying, you're not just spending tens of thousands of dollars on a website. Another use case is the car, kind of the traditional car dealerships.
Hmm.
Um, we've had success in Western Europe and the UK. In the US, we've not had any success. It feels like a
Interesting.
very old
Hmm.
school traditional business that's difficult to get to change their ways. They want you to come into the store, and at least for now, from what I've seen, they're not so much willing to be open to other types of use cases. I'm sure that will change at some point.
Hmm.
And then there's a third use case, which I think is very interesting, which is the marketplaces. In the US, we have CarMax is a big one,
Yeah.
Carvana, where, again, you're expected to sort of buy the car online, but
Hmm.
I think there is a pretty big opportunity to make that easier, because maybe some people are okay with just seeing the car's pictures. Maybe there's a short video that can show you kind of a spin around of the car, and then you see just the raw specs of the car, of the used car typically, and you just buy it based on some sort of guarantee that they'll, if there's any issue in the first 30 days, they'll give you your money back.
Hmm.
But most people, I think today, that's not good enough for them, and there are barriers as far as they're concerned in that purchase journey. Mental barriers mostly probably, but if there is an ability to speak with someone, that person actually doesn't even need to be next to the car. They just need to guide them through the purchase and to think about it in the right way,
Right.
and to ease their concerns. I think there is a big opportunity to really grow that market as well. And again, we've had success in the UK. In the US, it's been a little bit more challenging. I think mostly because people are less open to change in that industry. But I
But it's the
think
same US where people are buying Tesla online. So it's interesting that, where that balance, and people are talking about doing everything by AI. I mean, it's the same. I mean,
yeah,
same
you know, I,
country.
I, I think a whole different conversation, but I think the brand has so much impact on what people are willing to live with. Like
Hmm.
you're willing to buy a Tesla literally by clicking 10 times next and you're
Right.
done. If it's a different car manufacturer, maybe you would not be willing to do so. So
True.
there's a lot of brand equity that plays into that. Certainly, if you're buying a car on a marketplace and you're buying it from another person, it's
Right.
just being advertised on that marketplace. I think there are many more barriers to a person's thoughts when buying a car that way. And just being able to speak with someone friendly who will help you through the process. Again, they don't need to be next to the car. They
Correct.
just need to ease some of your concerns through that purchase journey. I think that can be a game changer.
Right. And you can bring in your partner, friends together on the call and have that discussion rather than stretching the whole purchase journey, waiting over like you said, to drive through, go there, probably leave early from work and try to manage all of that. No, it's very exciting. And I mean, just one last segment. I just want to talk about that. I mean, this is in itself is great, but then are there any new trends that you're more excited about apart from AI? Because AI, I think, there's still a big promise, but then we know everybody has to fine tune the balance between AI versus human driven. But apart from that, any other trends that you're seeing are picking up in the whole CX space?
I think thinking back of on 2024,
Hmm.
I think one of the things that we've seen that has played in our favor is how some of the website builders have gone up market, Shopify in particular. So
Hmm.
more and more enterprise grade functionality in those
Hmm.
website builders, which in turn makes our technology kind of plug and play. You can add V24 on the Shopify marketplace or App
Hmm.
Store. So I think that's interesting. It makes the implementation of the technology has become really easy, really plug and play.
Right.
Um, where so that's no longer a barrier or a challenge. The challenge is more getting the right people to be available on
Hmm.
video rather than how do I implement this? Well, 5 years ago, it took weeks, if not months, for most of our customers to go live. Now it's a matter of just in terms of the effort, it's a matter of hours.
Right.
And one part of that, reducing that barrier and making it easier, is the fact that the the website builders that are more templated and very easy are kind of going up market slowly and are more
Hmm.
suitable for larger businesses. So I think that's a really good trend. Makes it easier, democratizes the space so that you don't have to spend $1 million on building a new website, and you can get started within weeks, and focus really on the product you're offering and the customer experience from a human perspective rather than making a fancy website from scratch.
Great point. And I think what you guys are also doing is also democratizing the whole CX, because I feel with features like this, it's no more a luxury or a premium thing that big brands can afford. It's even small boutique stores where there is a lot of customers want high touch, the high touch products they want to talk and buy. Let's say upcoming clothing designers, I mean, for them to consult the clients, have a video, talk through it, understand what they like, show fabric and all of that. I mean, it's a great, I think, breakthrough in democratizing the whole CX. So I mean, it's great. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing it everywhere, to be honest. At least wherever there's a lot of we need to talk and engage before we buy, and hope we all get that convenience and the right level of engagement everywhere, and not just limited to few countries.
Absolutely, yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah, we're seeing a
Yeah.
lot of small businesses. Close to where I live, there are many high-end stores that have a single location on Fifth
Hmm.
Avenue in New York, and they're missing out on the rest of the United States. In India,
Right.
it's even a bigger challenge, right? Getting
Yeah.
getting to all of the customer base, and video can make that a lot easier. And like you said, it democratizes things. So
Even in
I'm hoping the winners
yeah,
are the consumers in the end of the day, of course.
absolutely. And it's and what I'm really interesting thing about this is that it's going to disrupt some of the other industries as well, or verticals. And it's, I mean, yes, we've talked a lot about retail and auto, but imagine even for a hospitality, for example, if I have to go book a holiday
Mm.
or book a cruise, it's just the images and videos I have versus, let's
Yeah,
say, if I talk to somebody, can you show me around, let's
yeah,
say how the kids play area look like, or how the pool is. It can be game changing. I mean, especially for cruises, or let's say high ticket item, or
yeah.
where in a high end hotel. I mean, those are the things I think where it can be really disruptive. And like you're saying, consumers would be the winners in the end.
Yeah, totally. I think
Yeah.
in the travel and hospitality sector, 30 years ago, you would rely on a travel agent that would give you
Yeah.
that insight. Um,
I used to buy those
I think
books,
I
and
think the
yeah.
level of service, or maybe CX is the better word for it, has really gone down. It's poor today.
Hmm.
You could be booking a very high end resort or cruise, and you're not really
Hmm.
given any. There's nothing personal about it. You're not speaking with another
Yeah.
human, and
Yeah.
you actually have very little information, very little qualitative information available to you. Um,
Hmm.
as opposed to what it was like 10, 20, 30 years ago. So maybe the way to differentiate and give a better
Yeah.
product in terms of the CX is in fact to add video to it and have people available when, especially when you're talking about a luxury hospitality offering.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, thank you so much for doing this. I mean, very insightful. I mean, personally, if this is going to be my answer, if somebody asks me what are the trends that you're looking forward to in 2025, because I believe this is definitely redefining the whole CX, and I think it's going to be true omni-channel, which everybody's trying to achieve, where they think that the answer lies in the digital space, but it's actually the whole integration. I feel with digital and human. So thank you so much for doing this. Very insightful, and I'm sure, I mean, all the listeners would have loved hearing all these insights as well.
Thank you very much. Really enjoyed it, and I hope to do it again at some point.
Likewise, thank you so much. Thanks.